It may seem strange, but some people don't spend every moment thinking of politics. So if at random you took 20 people off the street, threw in a few councillors and asked them to solve one of the knottiest political problems of the moment, how do you think it would go? Oh yes, you put them up in a swanky hotel, you give them a team of experts from the universities of Sheffield and Southampton, and you add this mug as their chairman. OK, we've got to stop you there. Thank you very much. Maybe it's not such a mad idea.
I've always been politically minded. I'm very disillusioned with the world of politics, so much so that, much against my beliefs, the election before last, I did not vote.
Now, you don't like politics very much?
I don't like politics. No, I've got no interest in politics. I would say I'm the least political person I know. I tend to go with the status quo, unless it affects me, and then I probably will do something.
The subject under discussion over 2 weekends was devolution of powers from central government to local authorities. A spot of speed dating with leader of Hampshire Roy Perry dashing round the tables helped answer questions. People are getting a chance to work out their own ideas in small groups, but then passing it on to everybody, sticking up their hopes, for example, for devolution. A chance to make politics more accountable, local control over housing and planning, and that Westminster does not often offer to give up power, but also their fears. For example, too many layers of government with not enough action, and the mayor comes up boss hog, they say. There were many other ways to find out more until after 2 weekends, a series of votes.
I think the people are really listening, actually, in Westminster, across the region, at different ways of kind of doing politics. I think it's really well understood in national politics and local politics that we have to start engaging voters, engaging local people in decision-making. So I think people are listening, and actually we're showing a really nice new way of doing politics.
It's made me more aware of what's going on, and I have to be honest, I've been talked about things I'd never given any thought to before. So this has been very interesting and very opening and changed some of my views, yeah.
Very, very interesting and very thought-provoking. It makes me think that maybe, just maybe, there is a possibility that ordinary people can be more involved in decision-making.
What do you think of that then, Molly Scott-Cato, as a way of doing business?
It looks absolutely great. I mean, I think it's fantastic to get people involved in discussing these things, and I think quite a few of those might now take that on and get more involved in politics, which I think would be wonderful, because I hate this idea of a political class, that politics is for some people and we have a choice between them. Politics is for everybody. I'm not part of the political class. Anybody could become a politician.
You're not part of the... But you understand these issues. You spend a lot of time thinking about them. They've just got a couple of weekends, and that's the sort of point. I mean, could they do the political... Should they be given real decisions to take as people who haven't studied issues?
I think politics should be open to everybody, but it is actually quite a skilled job.
Yeah.
And so I think you need training and you need experience, but it should be open to everybody. That's really important. Nobody should feel excluded and that it's kind of a job for somebody else.
And as an MEP, Molly Scott-Cato says she's not part of a political class. I mean, you just are, aren't you? As soon as you start being paid to be a politician, they can't do the job in the same way, but...
Well, that's why I think the real politics is in parish councils and town councils, where people don't get paid, where they don't get government subsidies. They have to account for every penny they raise from the parish council tax. And then you move into local government. Lots of people stand as councillors, don't know anything about politics, but they understand their local communities. And I think that's how a lot of us who are now in Parliament started off. Certainly, I did that. And so I think it's wrong to sort of suggest that there's a political class and a non-political class. What we need to do is try to engage as many people as possible and make clear to them that there are opportunities for them to serve the public and to participate in public life.
And you've got to hand out some power to make that worthwhile, or central government has to.
Exactly, and there's a surprising amount of power in local authorities, and if local authorities used that power more effectively, then I think government would want to give them more responsibility.
Why are they insisting on mayors for the devolution? They want to sort of try and vest it all in one individual.
Well, I'm not a great enthusiast for the mayors, I must say.
I think we have quite a lot of agreement here, but where I would disagree is I think the way to get people more activated in local politics is to actually give them the power over tax. If they were allowed to actually decide how the money came in and how it was spent, then you get people much more involved straight away.
Well, Hampshire wants to retain 100% of business rates.
Well, that's a start, but government has cut by 40% the money it gives to local government. This is making it impossible for them to fund services. If the taxes started locally and were then passed up, we'd see a complete transformation in our politics.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think either the local authorities raise the revenue and decide how it's going to be spent, that's fine. And that's what happens in parish councils and to an extent in local councils. But if we are saying that local councils should be given handouts from the centre and then at the same time expect to have greater freedom...
They wanted to take over some of the health and social care budgets because they say we can work that out better for Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. Would you agree with that?
Well, I certainly agree that we need to have more democratic accountability of both health and social care. And I would like to see the two looked at in the round together rather than in separate silos.
And is this a good way to sort of start working down that road? Because I think people believe nothing's going to change, nothing could change, and then it might do with the
I think this
devolution.
is a good process, and as Greens we've called for a People's Constitutional Convention, so we actually ask people these questions around where power should lie, who should be taxing, you know, how local government should be organised. And I think once you ask people those questions, they do have ideas, and it should start from the bottom up, not be George Osborne's decision from the top down.